Good morning, afternoon, and evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CFL Central. I'm with my co-host, Jake. How are you doing, Jake?
I'm doing good as always, and we got some fun news to talk about with the Stampeders. You guys have been asking for more free agency update videos on other teams other than the Bombers. I know we're a little biased. We've talked about it already.
We got a big one today.
We got a very big one, Carter. We got a very big one.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The Calgary Stampeders, all things considered, I gotta say, the West teams have been a lot more active than the East. Not all West teams, but
almost.
I'd like to think
like the Ticats have done basically nothing. They signed Dane Evans, and they lost Mazzoli and they lost Speedy B. They've just lost more than they've added.
The Ticats are the one exception.
Same with the Red Blacks. They lost Deadman, right? Their best player. So you're just losing in the East. You're not gaining anything yet. Yeah. But let's talk about the West, Carter.
Yeah. So first off, I'm just going to give a quick rundown on all the different players that have signed with the Red Blacks, whether that's re-signing or signing from another league. Yep. So, what did I say?
You said Red Blacks.
Did I say Red Blacks?
You did.
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
That's funny.
Stamps. You're taking me off. You're distracting me, Jake. All right,
Technical
so we got Trey
difficulties, ladies and gentlemen.
Jake Maher, Julian Good-Jones, Elaine Pay. I'm going to butcher some names here. My apologies. Falarin Orimolade.
I think that was pretty close, actually.
And then we got Reggie Bagleton, Derek Dennis, Colton Hunchak, Derek Wigan, Mike Rose, Sean McEwen, Ryan Skeviauer. I don't know how to say that last name. Zach Williams, Rene Perez, Kamar Jordan, Jameer Thurman, Kadeem Carey, and Brandon Dozier.
Probably Dozer.
Yeah, it's something with there. All I know is that the Stamps Instagram referred to him as the Bulldozer.
That's definitely Dozer.
Yeah. So, a lot of action in Calgary. A lot of action.
In a disappointing season for them. So they're going to have to be very active. It was a disappointing year for being a Stamps fan.
We'll get into a little bit to that playoff game against Saskatchewan. Sorry.
Oh, what a game.
So Trey Robertson, defensive back, signs at 2 years. So he's one of the, I think, the only guy that they've signed for 2 years out of all these guys that they've signed.
It's interesting how the CFL this year, that's been a constant trend. If you notice that, I can maybe count the guys that have signed on more than a one-year deal on my hand. It's like Lucky Whitehead, Zach Claros is a one-year deal, so ignore me there.
Johnny Augustine
just signed for 2 years. Walt Tarski signed for 2 years.
And I think one of the guys on the Rough Riders signed for 2 years.
Yes, so again, 4 or 5 at least that I can remember off the top of my head. So
not many.
Exactly. Which
but
makes sense.
I mean, one of the more interesting ones has got to be Jake Maher. So I want to know what your thoughts on the Stampeders re-signing Maher is.
Well, I think that it was a given, obviously, right? Like, Jake Maher last year was incredible because you have to take into consideration...
The few games that he played, yeah.
Well, he played 11 games played last year, and he threw for 1,200 yards.
Well, the few games that he started, let me rephrase it.
Well, starting, yes, but, the consistency he brought, minus it being a start or coming in because of injury or replacement, whatever the situation may be, he was very, very good for being a rookie player. If I'm not mistaken, he won Rookie of the Year for the CFL, right? I think he did.
Was it? Oh, okay, no, sorry. I was thinking special teams.
Either way, he was a very good, very, very good rookie last year.
Yeah.
With a team that already has, arguably, even though it's, again, another conversation for a different day, one of the top quarterbacks in the entire league in Bo Levi Mitchell. So even though he went down with an injury, everyone thought that their season was going to be, really up for question. But Jake Maher came in and was very consistent and then started this debate about whether or not you go with Maher for the future or, you keep with Levi Mitchell for now and run it out until you see what happens. And if I'm not mistaken, Carter, Bo Levi Mitchell modified his contract so that they could be able to sign Jake Maher this offseason.
Yes, Bo Levi Mitchell, he did restructure his contract. And one of the things that here's a quote from Bo Levi Mitchell: "With the changing environment in the CFL over the past few years due to many circumstances, I understand that to have a winning team, it is in my best interest to restructure my contract to allow us to re-sign Jake Maher as well as other players." This is said from Bo Levi Mitchell. So it's very clear that he understands a bit of the crunch for some of these teams at keeping, everything under that salary cap.
He's also one of the most paid players of recent
and build
years.
the championship.
So it makes sense
For
for
the
him to take a
longest,
little bit of less money.
isn't he? I could be wrong, but I think he has like I think he's currently has the biggest contract in the CFL.
I think he
or
might be
something
one of the
like
highest
that.
earning players in a long time in the CFL with his like accumulative
Yeah,
career with his contract. So it would make sense that if he's been smart with his money, he'd be okay taking that because at
yeah,
this point, Calgary needs to win another chip for his legacy at this point, right? They've had a little bit of a rough
yep,
run, even though they've been very dominant still. I think Jake Maher back is a really good sign that you want to win now and have options while trying to win now, but also prepare for
oh
the
for sure,
future. That's basically
yep,
this is the perfect way to define that because Mayer could play right
yeah,
now and be deadly, and if you split duties with Mayer and Lee Mitchell, they'll both be a deadly tandem, which I think would be
yeah,
maybe a smart option. And then you have, like I said, that possibility of using Mayer if you need to, retirement, leaving, whatever happens with Mitchell. So I think this is a
yep,
really smart move on their
for
part.
sure,
I'm glad that Bo Levi sees the value in what they're trying to accomplish right now with re-signing and building this team up more. And I
yep,
think it's going to be a very interesting storyline to follow next year with the
for
Stampeders
sure,
and their quarterback battle. I think it's going to be a really fun
yep.
fun to watch week in and week out.
Yeah, and speaking of having a lot of guys that can come in, a bit of a signing out of left field. So the Stampeders also will sign quarterback from Penn State and Mississippi State, Tommy Stevens,
Yeah, very
who
interesting
was a
signing there. Doesn't make much
7th
sense.
240th overall in the 2020 NFL draft by the New Orleans Saints. So this was, I gotta say, this was out of left field. I don't think anyone was really, because I remember it was one of those things where I was looking at the quarterback situation that they had in Calgary, and I thought there's no open spots anywhere. It seems like they got that pretty much locked down because it was pretty much common knowledge that there's no way they're going to get rid of Mayer after the season he had. And Bo Levi Mitchell wasn't moving, but I mean, I'm not surprised that his contract was restructured, seeing as he was one of the few guys making almost $500,000 in the CFL. So this, I don't know. Like, Jake, take us through some of his stats.
Well, like you look at it, he played only one game. He started last year with Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Actually, is who he was. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. He played a game with the Carolina Panthers in the NFL. What?
Where is this?
Up on his stat sheet. 2020.
Like
He played a game.
Oh,
The Carolina Panthers he played a game with. I thought that was college stats, but let's go with that. So he is an NFL experienced quarterback that played one game, threw for 24 yards, rushed 4, longest throw being a 10-yard first down completion, and that's basically it. Not a recorded touchdown and nothing else to really, of note to talk about. He's a very weird kind of player that they sign. I guess they see some potential in him since he's been cut loose by most NFL squads at this point. So yeah, I guess like I just said with Jake Mayer, he's gonna be a question mark narrative this season. We're following whether or not he plays, doesn't play, his development, if he stays or not. Tommy Stevens, yeah, you confuse me a little bit right now, my friend, but I'm looking forward to seeing how your career will develop in this league if you choose to stay. Because yeah, NFL experience at 24 years old after being a 7th round pick the same year you played in the NFL. I don't know. It seems
Who
kind
knows?
of interesting.
We'll have to see.
Who knows? Exactly.
We'll have to see in the future. We'll have to see in the future how that translates to Canadian football. But anyways, this one was an expected signing and a pretty important one for the Stampeders. Reggie Bagleton re-signs for the Stamps, 28 years of age. And I was quite impressed with him last year. I mean, he was averaging 14.8 yards receiving, which is quite something. So I can't imagine that they're disappointed at all with this. And I mean, his career average when it comes to yards is 15 exactly. So
take into consideration, he also only played 2 games last year.
Yep. Well, he was in. It was
I know. I know. I'm not.
I'm
not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying, right? With a player that is 28 years old after being pretty damn consistent and having a career year in 2019, I think that this is a good signing. For the stance that you obviously know what he can bring if he's healthy. The big thing is, can he stay healthy, right? Because even going back in seven games in 2018, 9 games in 2017, 2 games this year out of the 14 that they played. So there's question marks for sure about that his health. But I think in the long run, if you did not sign him, it would be a bigger issue than signing him.
For
you
sure.
know, like if even if he plays a little bit, having him as an option when healthy is going to be very important for this team with all their quarterback options now. And they want to obviously have some deadly wide receivers as well. But that takes us over to another wide receiver, doesn't it, Carter?
Uh, Another wide receiver. Oh, who do you have
Number
listed as
88,
next?
Kamar Jordan.
Oh, okay. You had it. Okay, you had him listed first. I had someone else. Yeah. So another big part of this wide receivers core, and this is going to be especially interesting just because I want to touch on this for just a second. But if you guys haven't seen our video on Brandon Banks, we were talking about how possibly he would be interested in possibly moving to the Stampeders. So it's interesting to see the receiving core they already have and the possibility of Brandon Banks deciding that
Again,
Calgary is where
no
he wants
rumors
to
were
go.
pointing to that. It's mostly just me and Carter using our brain
It's
and the
our own
CFL kind of
speculation.
stuff based off of
Yep.
what the West looks like and the additions of Lucky Whitehead and the offer from the Lions to Kenny Lawler. They're stacking up on receivers out there for their quarterbacks. So if you're not the Flames, wrong league, Jake. If you are the Stampeders, you want to go out there and make this team as offensively deadly as you can. And I think Brendan Banks
For sure.
kind of would be the icing on the cake for this team. But I digress. Different conversation. Go check out the video if you want to hear more about that theory. But yeah, Kamar Jordan's been a really good receiver for them for a long time. Very consistent going back to 2016. He hasn't thrown for less than 500 yards since 2016. His high being 944 in 2018. He's been very good. And he had a good year at season last year in 11 games played. He's had 767 yards on 73 attempts, 53 recorded catches, 4 touchdowns, which is actually his second highest total for a season. He had 2 seasons back-to-back with 6 recorded touchdowns, and then 3 in 2016. So yeah, a good season for him, especially considering that it was the shortened year and he only played 11 games. I think that, just adding depth, keeping this guy around, knows the system, is a very good weapon in the short game and in the long game at times as well. He averaged 14.5 yards per catch. So, yeah, I think that he's a very good receiver for them to keep. And I'm a little curious on how this receiving core is going to look going into next season for the Stamps. Because, like I said, if you add any more weapons to this team, with the quarterbacks that they have, you have a very scary beast coming out of Alberta this season for the CFL. But it's going to come up to a lot of other questions, but they're already starting to make the moves to kind of put themselves back on the map and inch towards being that number 1 team in the West. Or not number 1 because you got the Bombers, but you're going to have to try to compete with Saskatchewan, who's been a good team for a while now with Fajardo back there. So, yeah, I think that this is a great signing.
Yep, you got to have a lot of options when it comes to your receiving core, so I think that they pretty much just locked down another one of those options. But one other signing that is extremely interesting is the signing of Reggie Perez, who for the entirety of the regular season was regarded as pretty much the best kicker that in the CFL, with him only missing 3 kicks all season long. Now, where that got different is when you went into playoffs. Perez cracked under the pressure in playoffs. It got to him. He had missed 3 all year, and he missed more than 3 in just that last game against the Riders. And it eventually got to a point where they needed a field goal to, I can't remember if it was stay in the game or win the game.
I think it was stay in the game. And
sadly wasn't quite able to do it.
But he was great last year though, in the regular season. He had 155 points recorded with his kicks. So pretty damn efficient guy when you ask me, with a percentage of 91.7 with accuracy.
And you're talking about a guy who's been with the Stampeders for 10 years straight. He has been around a long time, So keeping a guy like that who has been locked down with the systems, who knows it in and out more than anyone, who has been pretty darn good. I think the only question that you need to have with Reggie Bagleton is just getting him to find his groove come playoffs.
Absolutely.
Keeping what he has, and just being able to get this player on the right mindset to succeed come playoff time.
I couldn't agree more. I think he's already proven what he can do in his very long career with regular season, and he's been good in the playoffs in the past as well. But last year was rough for him, so I think that this will be a good coming up rebound season for him potentially in a playoff situation. So hoping that he has a good year. He's obviously CFL kickers. I don't know why in the NFL I don't give 2 shits about kickers, but in the CFL I just feel like kickers are they're more fun because, like, like they go deep all the time. You get longer kicks than we get in the NFL. It's fun to watch. So I like watching Perez when he goes out there, and he's a good kicker, like Carter said, and I think that he will be obviously a great keep for this team because let's be real, kicking is the most underappreciated skill in football because it can win you a game. It's just a simple kick through the uprights can win you a game compared to your touchdown and everything you bring from an offense. So kicking is very important.
The whole game and win just
exactly.
With that.
So kicking is a very important part, and when you're 91.7% accurate in a season with over 155 recorded points, I think that's a pretty damn good statistic to have and to carry into next season after re-signing him. I think that's going to wrap up the list, though, doesn't it? This has been a long one. We're almost going on 15 minutes, but the Stamps have been active.
Yeah. Yes, they have. It's been quite a lot. So I got to imagine that Stamps fans got to be pretty pleased with the way that their management has been able to, with the players that they've re-signed so far. So
absolutely,
we'll have to see how it goes moving forward.
Absolutely, my friend. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. As always, if you enjoyed, drop a like, subscribe if you are new, and turn on notifications if you haven't already. Make sure to check out all the affiliated links down in the description below. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram. Make sure to also check out the Prairie Puck podcast if you are interested in a little bit more of the hockey side of the sports stuff that we talk about on our other channels. You can go check that out. It's very fun. We're joined by Carter's brother, Zach, and as well as Ryan from Heart Garbage Sports on YouTube. It's a great time. Go check out the episodes at your own discretion. So with all that being said, as always, peace, love, and positivity. Thank you so much for watching this video. Have a great rest of your day. And the Stamps, you're going to be scary come this season, and I can't wait to watch it.